Welcome to the Build with Boundaries podcast. My name is Mahnaz, and this podcast is for high achieving women looking to grow without sacrificing family and life. Discover what's missing and making you frustrated, and what's most important for you to achieve the success that you truly desire. All this without compromising the most important things in your life: your time, your family, your values, and your aspirations. So let's dive into today's topic. Hello and welcome back to another episode. I am so delighted to share this week's episode. I have just had a message through this morning and I feel I need to record a podcast episode around it. So I don't believe that there are any coincidences. So how beautiful is that? I want to start this episode with just that thought that how powerful human design can be is to do with the insights that we get and that internal acceptance of really making sense of things and not only understanding it, but actually within us, truly accepting it. And when with that acceptance comes so much relief and so much that we can let go of. And I want to share with you some examples because it's just been such a beautiful journey to share some elements of people's charts. Some have been clients who have gone very deep with, and some people I've even ran this little experiment where I did just 15 minutes of a session and it was completely free and I wanted to see how powerful it could be. So I have got so many insights from doing this experiment and it's been absolutely wonderful. It's really helped me to believe even more how powerful it is because we had 15 minutes together and I had to share something on a specific challenge that they gave me and I had never looked at their chart until the book and this is how it worked. So, firstly, I want to start with some clients who've gone really deep with, because, when you spend a lot of time peeling back all of the layers of who you are, why you operate in a certain way, why you think in a certain way, why you act in a certain way, there is this huge sense of relief of just somebody understanding you and seeing yourself in a different light. I like to think of human design as being this lens that we put on, and it's like having this pair of glasses, and when we put them on, we see ourselves completely differently, like we've never seen ourselves before, because we've been us all our life, right? Nobody has been telling us, oh, this is what you're like, this is what you're like. And we do have trouble with that. We do have trouble figuring out where our natural strengths lie, because some of them are obvious to us and others, like, we really don't see it because it's just so ingrained in us. So let me start firstly with a client that I worked with who was having a big issue in terms of the way they were working in terms of the structure to their day and how they actually carried out tasks, how they did, looked after themselves, how they did all the different aspects that they wanted to give time to. And that routine just stopped working. It wasn't working anymore. Every day just felt like such a hard slog. It was like, deja vu here, everything again, starting from waking up and actually trying to get out of bed. It was a complete nightmare for this person. And what happened was when we did the human design reading, the reason that they came was because of what worked for them in terms of their routine just wasn't working before. And, that was the reason, because having somebody else help you to manage like how you work and how you live better. And that's what they thought I could help with. So that was the reason they came. But what actually happened was absolutely amazing. It was transformational because not only did we tackle lots of things that they were dealing with in terms of how they actually work and operate and how they set up their day, what do they do when, How do they work? What's most effective for them? The result of all of that was that they found things that they wanted to do, right, better. There was that motivation coming back. And the mental well-being and this kind of resistance they were feeling constantly, as if they were just pushing and pushing, that seemed to dissipate. And as a result of that, because then they found the way that they operated and worked and what was better for them, they were sleeping better. And as a result, obviously, that can have a direct impact on their mental well-being. They were getting more things done. So they were feeling really productive and efficient. And all in all, it was just transformational day to day, like every single day, the feeling that they have. And I think this is the essence of what human design can do and how practical it is, because when we understand how we are best operating, then we can use that information to our the best of our ability so that we can do all of the things that we want to do in the way that we want to show up. I think that's really important, having the right energy to actually carry those out, because you want to have that joy for life and in everything that you do. And another couple of clients that I worked with, what I saw was a pattern that they were definitely leaning into their strengths with way more confidence than they had before. And, that just means that rather than you doubting yourself all the time, there was a much more acceptance there, and there was understanding of how they operate and what they can do and how they can, the decisions that they make. That was important as well. And one of the ladies that I worked with, she was 63 years old at the time when we did uncover her human design. And through doing this work, she said, I didn't know who I was until now. She literally, had this sense of understanding her whole life, of how she is, why she is, what she is, and making decisions and handling how to make decisions was actually a massive, massive thing for her, and understanding how she was best at making decisions and how she could live her life with things that she could change in terms of how she was. That's when things start changing around us, because obviously that ripple effect is definitely felt by those close to us. And now going back to the message that I had today, which I want to thank you, Lorna. Appreciate what you've just sent me. She's shared in her words. We did a mini session with her. So it was just 15 minutes, and she's described it as a joyful and profound experience. So let me read to you what she sent me, and this is just a very small extract. I came to the session feeling confused about a recurring tendency to procrastinate and be inconsistent in my business. Through Mahnaz's sensitivity, intuition, and deep listening, she highlighted and described an aspect of my chart, first from one perspective and then from another. Hearing it from both perspectives was the key. I was able to make the profound shift from judging being inconsistent as if it was a weakness to being curious about how being inconsistent is one of my strengths and superpowers. This was a beautiful and potent session of clarity, and I look forward to moving forward with this sense of curiosity. I came away from our session not only with a shift in perspective, but also with joy and lightness of spirit, knowing that how I am designed is perfect. And I just want to repeat that line, that last line, like having joy and lightness of spirit, knowing that you are designed in the way that is perfect for you. That is just beautiful. And that's a message I would love for you to carry through your day, and even intentionally forevermore, because we can imagine that things are, we're sort of wired to look at the negatives, right? Back in caveman days, we needed to know what the negative was, what we needed to be scared of. It could be a life or death situation. So we're wired to look at things in the negative sense. So we're always looking at what we're not good at. What did we not do today? What do I feel bad about that I didn't actually manage my own expectations? And it's much easier for us to go down that road. And what human design tells us to do or rather it helps us to guide us to our strengths, and it keeps telling us and directing us. And it's like having this personal guidance system of where is it that you need to focus. Like it might be strengths that you didn't realize that you had. Now, going back to Lorna's message here, what is wonderful is this was 15 minutes we spent together. That's it. And I just want to share with you that if 15 minutes picking one aspect of her chart could have a profound effect on how she feels afterwards, like imagine what that could have, what could happen if you actually went into the human design experience much more deeply. And I don't mean this in an overwhelming way, because I recognize human design is very confusing and overwhelming, and there is a lot to learn. So that's why I don't do a typical human design reading either. With the clients that I've worked with, it's been a very step-by-step process, and it's definitely about setting up the foundations of how you want to design your life. It's about, wherever you are in your life journey, it's going back to the roots and strengthening them. And we need that. At different stages in our life, it becomes apparent that we need to go back to knowing who we are and being strong in who we are, not just knowing it, but applying it. So if this sounds interesting and you want to hear more stories about people who have had profound experiences and transformations, including me sharing my own story I have never shared in detail before, and I am looking forward to an event that I'm hosting. It's on the 25th of September, and it's what human design can do for you in business and life. And to have a look at what this event is all about and to see if you want to come along, then it's absolutely free. You just need to go to buildwithboundaries.com/event, have a look. And I am so excited to share this aspect because I know how helpful it's been for me to see other people, how it had the impact, how it's been effective. And this is coming from me being a very logical, sciencey, evidence-based person. Like, I need evidence. Something is right or wrong. There's nothing in between. I'm very logical, and the aspect of me that has been changing over time, but that's the story that I will share with you in the event. And so for me to go from this shift from thinking that what I shared in episode 95 was about how I shifted my perspective on human design, as shared in there. And that might be helpful to go back and listen to, because there is this desire to always feel like you need to understand what something will give you. And to some extent, we definitely need to know the potential of that before we dive in. But human design is something that at first glance, I just put my chart away and didn't look at it because it was just too much. And I've gone back to it over and over again. And for many, many years, I've been looking at it in the sense of understanding my own design, starting to even look at my families, and, it affects relationships. It affects everything around us, because when we can be ourselves, we're just being more at ease, and that resistance that we've talked about today, that kind of melts away. And it's like taking the pressure off us, because there is a lot of pressure on that we can't even see. And I cannot wait to share lots of stories, lots of juicy things that I haven't shared before at this event. So 25th of September, just go to buildwithboundaries.com/event. And I am looking forward to it and super excited to see you there. This podcast is for you, so reach out and let me know what you thought about this episode. You can find me on LinkedIn and Instagram, where I also share valuable content. If you enjoyed this episode, then hit the subscribe or follow button on your favourite podcasting platform so you never miss another episode. I can't wait for you to join me for the next episode of the Build With Boundaries podcast.